Hey YouTube, Kira Twig here, bringing you all an update to my Lunalight Yugioh deck profile for post Sisters of the Rose. Wanted to do this as the next deck in line for the booster pack. We have 5 different decks to do from the whole set, and we've got 2 down now, with Lunalights being the next one. It's a really fun deck. The whole point of the deck is to fusion summon out a bunch of different Lunalight monsters and then use those monsters to quickly eliminate your opponent based on their effects, whether it be multiple attack or just having very powerful, huge attack, and also being able to be protected by different things, whether it be battle or card effects, and a bunch of other awesome effects as well. So let's go ahead and get started with the deck profile. So to start off, for the monsters, I run 2 Lunalight Blue Cat. Lunalight Blue Cat's very, very helpful just for the fact that when it is special summon, you can target a Lunalight monster you control except for Blue Cat. Its attack becomes double its original attack until the end of this turn. You can only use this effect of Blue Cat once per turn, and if this card on the field is destroyed by battle or card effect, you can special summon 1 Lunalight monster from your deck. So you're even able to special summon Blue Cat off of this effect, meaning if you have another Lunalight monster on the field, you can get that double attack for that monster also. So very, very helpful in that sense. I only run 2 though. I adjusted the numbers with some of the new monsters we have in the deck. I just found that 3 really means that you're relying on that stall aspect of Blue Cat with the destruction, just until you can go into some other plays. But 2 just really helps for the fact that you can go into another one with the special summon, and then also just have that double attack with some of your fusion monsters that you will go into. Can really help with your OTK plans against your opponent. I also run 3 Lunalight Black Sheep. You can discard this card to activate one of these effects. You can add 1 Lunalight monster from your graveyard to your hand, except for Black Sheep, or you can add 1 polymerization from your deck to your hand. And if this card is sent to the graveyard as fusion material for a fusion summon, you can add to your hand 1 face-up Lunalight monster from your extra deck, or 1 Lunalight monster from your graveyard except for Black Sheep. So you have recycle power with Black Sheep, and overall just being able to search for polymerization means we don't have to use cards like Fusion Recycling Plant or Fusion Sage to search out polymerization for your fusion play, since it's very easy to search out Black Sheep with a bunch of different effects in the deck, but a definite 3-up for sure, since you can make use of this card in many different ways as well with the deck. I also run 3 Lunalight Kaleido Chick. Once per turn, you can send 1 Lunalight monster from your deck or extra deck to the graveyard. The name of this face-up card on the field can be treated as the sent monsters, and if used as a fusion material this turn, if this card is sent to the graveyard by a card effect, you could target 1 polymerization in your graveyard, add to your hand, and you can only use this effect of Lunalight Kaleido Chick once per turn. If this card is banished, you can activate this effect this turn. Your opponent's cards and effects cannot be activated during the battle phase, which is very helpful against when you're using your Lunalight monsters, because the attacks are a very key part of their plays, being able to get off their attacks with their buffed up attack. So Kaleido Chick, very helpful for that. It's also great that it's able to send cards, so if you were to set up your graveyard for plays with, let's say, Lunalight Wolf, very helpful just to set those up and get those monsters in the graveyard to use, and also just counting it as the name means if you need to go for those fusion summons, you have that option to go for as well. And then for some of the new Lunalight monsters, I run 2 Lunalight Yellow Marten. If this card is in your hand or graveyard, you can target 1 Lunalight card you control except for Yellow Marten, return it to the hand, and if you do, special summon this card in defense position, but banish this card when it leaves the field. And if this card is sent to the graveyard by a card effect, you can add 1 Lunalight Spell Trap from your deck to your hand. You can only use each effect of Yellow Marten once per turn. So basically you have options for returning your Lunalight cards, like let's say example your Pendulum Scales to the hand to special summon this, so you have that option available to you. But you also have search effects, which is very, very nice just for all the different Lunalight cards we run in the deck that you could search out and then use, for example, Lunalight Perfume. So I like to run 2 of this card just for that matter, since it is a once per turn, but I want to be sure I can get that option available to me, and like I said, it's also searchable with some of our other cards in the deck. And I also run 2 of the new Lunalight Emerald Bird. If this card is normal or special summon, you can send 1 Lunalight card from your hand to the graveyard, and if you do, draw 1 card. And if this card is sent to the graveyard by a card effect, you can target 1 of your level 4 or lower monsters that is banished or in your graveyard except Lunalight Emerald Bird, and special summon it in defense but negate its effects. You can only use each effect of Emerald Bird once per turn. So plenty of ways to banish monsters in this deck, so it's a great way to make use of that. It also says you can discard a Lunalight card, so you can also set up Perfume in the graveyard, much easier as well, instead of, if you don't have a monster in the graveyard to target for it, and also make up for it with the draw as well, but then also use the banish effect of it to add a Lunalight monster. So that search is just definitely much more helpful to grab other ones as well by setting up the Perfume in the graveyard. And then I also run 3 Lunalight Wolf. Very helpful. It's basically your Miracle Fusion for the deck. In the Pendulum scale, you cannot Pendulum summon monsters except for Lunalights. This effect cannot be negated, and once per turn, you can Fusion summon one Lunalight Fusion monster from your extra deck by banishing fusion materials listed on it from your field or graveyard. So if you use Polymerization for cards in your hand, then set up the graveyard and your field with the Fusion monster and some of the other monsters, then you can use Wolf to go for those bigger plays. It's also recyclable with Kaleido Chick, and just being able to be bounced to be reused as well later on. And I also run 3 Lunalight Tiger. The last of the Pendulum scales. Once per turn, you can target one Lunalight monster in your graveyard, special summon it, but it cannot attack, and its effects are negated. Also destroy it during the end phase. Not too bad there, since it does give you monster options to either go for link summons or just have other resources to use for cards like Polymerization and also Lunalight Fusion. And if this card on the field is destroyed by battle or card effect, you can target one Lunalight monster in your graveyard, special summon it. You can only use the effect of Tiger once per turn. So you have options with both. What I like about Tiger compared to Wolf is that it is a level 3, so much easier to get out onto the field as well. That's why I like to use it and Wolf just as definite 3-ofs. You have a Miracle Fusion option with Wolf, and then you have plenty of special summon options available to you with Tiger. And then for the 1-ofs for the Lunalight monsters, I run 1 Lunalight White Rabbit. When it's normal summon, you can target a Lunalight monster in your graveyard except for White Rabbit. Special summon it in defense, and once per turn, you can target one spell or trap your opponent controls up to the number of other Lunalight cards you control. Return them to the hand, so it can take care of hand traps, or not hand traps, counter traps, set cards, or just other pesky ones that are messing up your plays. Or if your opponent's waiting to take care of your big fusion monster, White Rabbit can help get rid of those, traps or spells on the field that can really mess up those plans. So very helpful with that. And I also run 1 Lunalight Crimson Fox. If this card is sent to the graveyard by a card effect, you can target one face-up monster your opponent controls, change its attack to 0 until the end of this turn, and when a card effect is activated that targets a Lunalight monster you control, you can banish this card from your graveyard to negate the activation. If you do, each player gains 1,000 life points. So it helps by taking care of your opponent's monster's attack, meaning that you can hit for big numbers with your own monsters, but also being able to protect your Lunalights is a big key play with Crimson Fox also. And lastly, for the Lunalight monsters, 1 Lunalight Purple Butterfly, just for the attack boost. It's very helpful with the 1,000 attack by sending it from the hand or field to the graveyard. And you can special summon 1 Lunalight monster from your hand by banishing this card. So being able to have it banished means that you can also, special summon it back with Emerald later on also, depending on when you open up this card. And then lastly, for the monsters, I run 1 Blackwing Zephyrus the Elite. I really like this card with Lunalight Wolf. Just being able to bounce Wolf to special summon this gives us, much more special summon options with it being in the graveyard as well with those plays. And that is it for the monsters. We'll now move on to the spells. I run 2 Polymerization. I just run 2 of this card because it is recyclable, and you can search it out, obviously, with your Lunalight Black Sheep. And then you also have the other fusion options with Wolf and Lunalight Fusion. So if you go through all your polymerizations, it's not the end of the world because you still will have plenty of other ways to fusion summon in the deck. And I run 2 of the new Lunalight Fusion. You fusion summon 1 Lunalight Fusion monster from your extra deck using monsters from your hand or field as fusion material. And if your opponent controls a monster that was special summoned from the extra deck, you can also use 1 Lunalight monster in your deck or extra deck as fusion material. You can only activate 1 Lunalight Fusion per turn. So most of the time you're pretty much going to be guaranteed if you're going up against an opponent to hopefully have an extra deck monster. And then using your own resources, very helpful with Lunalight Fusion. Just with that play, being able to go into your bigger monsters much faster than if you had to use your, just effect monster Lunalight monsters first. And then I also run 3 Lunalight Perfume. You target a Lunalight monster in your graveyard, special summon it, and you can banish this card from your graveyard, then discard 1 card to add 1 Lunalight monster from your deck to your hand. You can set up your Zephyrus the Elite in the graveyard with this play, and then bounce a card back on the field to special summon it, giving you those extra options. It's also not a once per turn, so if you open up plenty of these, and like I said, very good with Emerald Bird as well for the discard play also. Definite 3 of in any Lunalight deck just for that purpose. And I also run 3 Fire Formation Tenki. They're all Beast Warrior monsters, so you can basically search out any of the Lunalight monsters that you need for your plays. So very, very helpful for the deck as well. And I also run 2 Foolish Burial Goods. This one is for Lunalight Perfume. Just being able to get that card into the graveyard to use much, much faster is very helpful for sure. And we also have their Lunalight Serenade Dance, which we'll get to in a bit, that you can also send to the graveyard to have an effect to go for. And then lastly, for the spells, I run 3 Called by the Grave. Just very, very helpful since we have lots of send effects and special summon. So you don't want any thing that your opponent could use to disrupt those cards getting in the way of your plays. And also 1 Monster Reborn. The one thing I love about this is just being able to obviously special summon back Blue Cat without having to destroy it, obviously. So if you were still in like the main phase and then you double up your Lunalight's attack, you have much more control of what play you want to go for when you go into the battle phase. And then for the traps, I run 1 Lunalight Serenade Dance. When a fusion material monster is fusion summoned to your field, except during the damage step, you can target one of those monsters. Apply these effects in separate. You special summon 1 Lunalight token, and that card gains 500 attack for each monster your opponent controls, even if this card leaves the field. It has 2,000 attack and 2,000 defense, so not bad there, but I also like it for the graveyard effect. During your main phase, you can banish this card from your graveyard to send 1 card from your hand to the graveyard, and if you do special summon 1 Lunalight monster from your deck, you can only use this effect once per turn. So with Foolish Burial Goods, setting this up in the graveyard, very, very helpful with that play, and Perfume to have options to use. And lastly, I run 1 Lunalight Reincarnation Dance. I run this card also just now because it's searchable. I don't really like to draw it as much, but having that search option to add Lunalight cards I want along with Tenki Search definitely does come in handy for sure. And that is it for the main deck. We'll now move on to the extra. I run 2 Lunalight Cat Dancer. You need 2 Lunalight monsters to make this card. It cannot be destroyed by battle, and once per turn during the main phase 1, you can contribute 1 other Lunalight monster for the rest of this turn. The first time each monster your opponent controls be destroyed by battle, it is not destroyed. Also, this card can attack all monsters your opponent controls twice each, and if this card declares an attack, inflict 100 damage to your opponent. It works very, very well with Crimson Fox, just being able to, drop their attack down to 0, potentially being able to go for game with this card alone is very, very nice. I also run 2 Lunalight Panther Dancer. You need Cat Dancer and 1 Lunalight monster to make this card. It can't be destroyed by card effects. You also have the attack option available to you with this one, and also an attack gain until the end of the battle phase as well when it attacks. Easier options as well if you use some of the other effects to either send Cat Dancer to the extra deck to make Panther Dancer with like Lunalight Fusion. Much easier plays as well. And I also run 2 Leo Dancer. You need Panther Dancer and 2 Lunalight monsters to make this card, and with it 3,500 attack. You can attack twice and destroy special summon monsters, and also just with extra protection with not being able to be targeted or destroyed by your opponent's card effects. Makes it a very pesky card to get over for sure for your opponents. And then for the new card, I run 1 Lunalight Sabre Dancer. You need 3 Lunalight monsters to make this card, and it must be fusion summon. It gains 200 attack for each Beast Warrior monster that is banished or in the graveyard, and your opponent cannot target this card with card effects. And during your main phase, except the turn this card was sent to the graveyard, you can banish this card from your graveyard. Then target 1 fusion monster you control. It gains, I believe, 3,000 attack, which is very, very powerful, just like Leo Dancer for those plays. And then until the end of this turn, you can only use this effect of Sabre Dancer once per turn. A little more difficult to go into, and a lot of the times you can hit bigger games with Leo Dancer for sure. I just like the option of Sabre Dancer if you just don't have, like, let's say your Panther Dancer or your Cat Dancer set up for Leo Dancer, but you still want to go for a big fusion play. It definitely does come in handy there for sure. And lastly, for the fusions, I run one Starving Venom Fusion Dragon. Just very, very helpful. You just need dark monsters on the field to summon this out. Being able to copy your opponent's monster effects makes it a very powerful fusion option as well. And then for the Link monsters, I run one Wee Witch Apprentice. Most of them that we run are dark, aside from the Pendulum monsters. So very, very helpful to just bump up some of their attacks as well. I also run one Nightmare Phoenix, one Nightmare Cerberus, one Underclock Taker, one Triple Burst Dragon, and one Boral Sword Dragon to finish off the Link monsters. And then lastly, I run one Raid Raptor Force Strix. With this one, you can detach one XYZ to add one level 4 Dark Wing Beast monster from your deck to your hand. So the target I go for this one is obviously Zephyrus the Elite, being able to discard this card for the cost of your Lunalight cards and get it in the graveyard, then to bounce it back with the effect of Zephyrus to the field. Just means that you can then use Force Strix and Zephyrus to go into your Wee Witch, and then have room to go into for your basic Lunalight fusions that you may want with bumped up attack for Wee Witch, which is a very preferred play that I do like to go for with the deck. And that is it for the deck profile. I hope you all enjoyed. Once again, definitely working on the other deck profiles for the set. Black Rose, Harpies, and Trains. I'd like to get all those out to you as soon as I can. But until then, please don't forget to leave a like and subscribe. And until next time, Kira Twig out.